All right, all my sappers out here, all my SAPers. So guys, just to give you a little forewarning, I don't care if I was standing here by myself. I get really passionate about this topic. So, you may see me run up and down the aisles or do something crazy. I enjoy this topic. It was just kind of sad. Going to start off with a quick video. I promise it's only 3 minutes, but it's interesting and it's contextual.
Hi, I'm Paul Doherty, Chief Technology and Innovation Officer at Accenture. I'm here with my good friend and digital transformation partner, Judson Althoff, Executive Vice President of Microsoft's worldwide commercial business. Today, our joint clients are starting an exciting and important journey from SAP environments to Azure public cloud that will give them really distinctive new capabilities and powerful business results. And we've been spending a lot of time talking about how we can capitalize on this opportunity and help our clients on this journey together. Talk about why the partnership between Accenture and Microsoft really works well for our clients and what we can do together.
For sure, Paul. So we really bring some unique value together between Microsoft and Accenture, and a lot of it is predicated on the work that the three companies are doing together today. Microsoft, Accenture, and SAP have invested in alignment across engineering, across sales, across delivery, across support, and we're actually our own mutual customers, in fact. If you think about it, Microsoft runs our SAP environment on Azure, SAP runs their S4 environment on Azure, and Accenture, of course, runs your SAP environment on Azure. And the three companies have really worked together to develop best practices for transforming business processes into the cloud.
Azure is really the only platform that offers a really hybrid solution to our customers, which is what many of them want, and hybrid capability where they need it, along with this widest global reach that they have. So our clients get unmatched flexibility, the scalability, and productivity on demand that helps them get the ROI that they're looking to get through these new solutions. And what they're really looking to get is the ROI with the agility, the improved efficiency, and the new capabilities that can get by the combined, through the combined solution that we can put together with SAP on Azure. The customers I think about when I think about success and how we can deliver the right client outcomes are clients like Subsea 7 that we've been working on together for many years in many different ways. And with them, again, a digital transformation, moving SAP onto Azure to deliver improved return on investment and importantly in their business, increased agility in their business by accessing new capabilities of the Azure platform and being able to tie that in with SAP.
What I love so much about this partnership is it's so well aligned with Microsoft's mission to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. We do that better in working with Accenture. Frankly, we have no better partnership in the industry than the one that we have with Accenture. And what I'm really excited about is all of the great work we can do with our customers. No two digital transformations are alike. They're very unique journeys, and the consultative approach that Accenture can drive with a customer and the technology basis and IP portfolio that Microsoft has is a really strong combination to really help make customers of all industries around the world successful. And so I'm really excited about our further engagement and all of the work we can do with our customers.
Yeah, exactly. Me as well. Thanks, Justin. Great talking to you.
Thanks, Paul.
All right, eat your own dog food. Right? Microsoft runs SAP on Azure. Accenture and Avanade run our SAP systems. Our BW systems run on Azure. We actually leveraged the Azure environment for our S4 HANA migration. We're not running productive there yet, but in this next year we're going to. So the point is we do eat our own dog food. We're running these environments in Azure. So this is me. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, and you guys can all say all to my little puppy up in the corner, just because. But I always say this, doing SAP since 1995. So I've been around this space for way too long. Got the gray hair to prove it. So when we take a step back and think about what's going on in the industry, in all industries, but specifically when we talk about public cloud, there's these digital trends that pop up. These are some of my favorites. I mean, we could probably all sit here and debate probably 50 of them. But when we start thinking about integration, we start thinking about smarter experiences, we start talking about workforce. I don't know if you guys are SAP guys. I'm assuming you've got some SAP background here. It's interesting when HANA first came out, I used to go around traveling, talking to different HR managers, and they used to say they had a struggle because they had difficulty hiring and retaining talent based on their ERP system. Okay, that's still valid, especially as we continue down the S4 HANA conversations. It also applies to your approach to how you're running IT whether it's in the cloud or on-premise. Adaptive technologies and shaping digital industries are also pretty hot. Now, I want to point down here to the bottom left. If you guys go look up this session later on, go look at this thing from Accenture. So for the last, I think it's 6 years, might be 5 years, Accenture every year does a poll of about 6,300 IT C-level execs. So it's CFOs, CIOs, CMOs, all the type, and they come up with their whole approach. I recommend you go look at this thing, look it up, and then come back to me with what's the definition of data veracity. Pretty interesting. Really, think about smart data. Not just having data, but making decisions against real data, not garbage. Okay? Azure's just the beginning. It's kind of I don't want to say that cloud platform is a commodity, but we're going to chat a little bit around why Azure has benefits over other clouds. But Azure is that engine for digital transformation. So if we start to think about some specific areas, and by the way, this is not exhaustive, this is just scratching the surface here, but what makes Azure special? What can we do? First off, we've got cloud transformation. I'm going to go a little deeper into each one of these, but just to give you a taste, we've got the cloud transformation, we've got data and analytics. We're going to talk a little bit about intelligent automation. We've got the integration services, which, guys, is very hot when we talk about cloud to cloud or cloud to on-premise. We've got two-tier ERP and two-tier CRM. I'll spend some time on that one when we get there because it's actually a very interesting topic. So let's talk first, cloud transformation. So when cloud first became popular, there was one of those providers out there that probably had a little bit of a head start with the sheer number of customers. Thank you, Microsoft, for coming out with the M series of boxes. I call them the Goldilocks boxes because it finally gave us a system range or a sizing that meets those greenfield environments a heck of a lot better than what we had before. Now, Azure was really, really good at doing HANA large instance. So Azure was really good at the really big systems. I would say that they were really poor at the greenfield type systems. Then they were okay with the demo sized, right? With M series, it changes the game. In addition to that, what Azure now gives us the ability to do is bring entire data centers across. And I would say that SAP has become what I'll call the tip of the spear. With if you're moving your SAP workload across, if you can support SAP in Azure, you can pretty much support anything. So why wouldn't you? And that's where we start to have those conversations. Plus, you can start to pull in all the other things related to security around mobility, and I'm going to probably touch on security on every single slide as we get to, because it's something, if you heard Satya's keynote, when we're talking about the number of intrusions or security notifications that they get, cloud is obviously very important that we make sure it's secure. The intelligent impact. So let's think about data. I think that even in the keynote today, when Satya and Bill and the CEO from Adobe were all up there, it was pretty clear that data is an important topic for the future, right? So SAP customers have long leveraged BW, okay? Good or bad, we'll just leave that there. But one topic that's happening is your customers are out there, or you particularly are moving to Suite on HANA and then on to S4 HANA. You have some choices to make. Because now that when you get to S4 HANA, you have the ability to leverage operational reporting inside of a transaction system. You did not have that ability before, at least not to scale. With HANA as the back end, your approach to data analytics and approach to data reporting will change because you have the ability to put operational reports inside of your transaction system. That doesn't mean you're not going to still need to do analytical reporting. And in many cases, you pull the data out, and you have the ability to do that inside of BW. You have the ability to do that inside of HANA Azure Data Lakes. You have the ability to leverage blob storage. My point is when your customers or you are out here looking at your environments for S4 HANA in the future, there's some decisions to be made on how are you going to approach data analytics. Okay? Our customers, we've continued to bring up the whole concept of Azure Data Lakes, and I'll tell you, Power BI is a very, very powerful tool, and it's one that comes up with every one of our customers on how can they leverage Power BI either against the back end of SAP systems, whether it's BW or ECC or S4HANA or Suite on HANA for that matter. I will say that right now it's still a little bit behind because you actually have to connect to the back end in order to leverage Power BI, meaning you actually connect to the HANA database. Microsoft's working on cleaning some of that mess up, which is obviously great. Okay, so and the idea is to get to smart data. Another oddity that's happening, and I mentioned this on the first screen, is integration platform as a service. So we have customers who have been running this integration platforms for years on premise. Now they're moving to the cloud. So we have to consider what is a cloud to cloud, a cloud to on-premise integrations. It's a challenging topic, but one that I actually like now because we have the ability to leverage tools inside of Azure. And Microsoft calls it, I think, Azure Integration Services or Microsoft Integration. They're real exciting names, right? But really it's three different tools that are used most of the time with this. It's Service Bus, Logic Apps, and API Management. Okay? And there's really nice connectors that are being put in place here to allow us to be able to connect this, to provide, I'll even call it an integration platform as a service. You've got these tools that are available with the connectors that are being put into place. It's a great story, guys, and it's one that your customers or you, as a customer, will want to start to look into to say, what's my future cloud-to-cloud, cloud-to-on-premise integration? And it allows you to expand out that story with how are you plugging your other environments into SAP. Intelligent automation. I have RPA in here. There's also the whole thing around, have you heard of this thing called AI? I think it's pretty new. I don't know, maybe it's something that's come up. Seems to come up during commercials for golf games. I don't know, I think they think everybody who watches golf watches AI commercials. I'll leave what the other commercial that usually pops up aside. But the point is that the intelligent automation is hot. Now, if you have, I never get this right, if you've drank, whatever the right word, the SAP Kool-Aid, and you're fully bought into SAP on many of these topics, you may be saying, I'm always going to go with Leonardo. And you're going to leverage some of the tools that come through Leonardo around AI, and you're probably back-ending going to be using Google tools, whether you know it or not, or something else. The point to this is you don't always have to choose that direction, and you as a customer, even or as a support vendor, may go down the Leonardo path when it makes sense, when there's industry relevance. But you have some options available if you're looking for tools, especially if your tools involve SAP data plus other pieces, and that's where Azure AI and the machine learning pieces come into play. Does that make sense? So it's about extending the story beyond SAP with all of your data points. And by the way, that whole thing today with all three of those guys is awesome. As we see that data as a service almost layer coming into play, think about what that means for AI. Okay, and having the ability to leverage all that information for your machine learning to process and learn and make new decisions and support to give you the information that you need to make decisions in real time or near real time. So here's an interesting topic, and SAP has been actually banging this drum for a while now. So SAP has S4HANA Enterprise Management. They also came out with S4HANA Cloud Edition, right, which they said is great for subsidiaries or small entities, or if you're doing the private equity business, you can stand it up quick. We actually agree. We think it's a great story to have a two-tier approach. We just think it might be a good play to also have that conversation about dynamics. Okay, there's no reason why you couldn't leverage dynamics in a two-tier approach. And I'll tell you something that's actually been really interesting is ever since Sapphire this year, when SAP came out and announced the whole approach to C4HANA, which was I'll stop short of calling it a rebranding, but it's a lot of the new renaming of Hybris, right? So it's kind of been interesting because I think the market has embraced that approach of what's this C4HANA, but I'll tell you, we've had a big influx of customers who are saying, okay, I may not want to go that direction. What does Dynamics CRM look like as a front end to my SAP environment? And that has come across our desk quite a bit. We have a large number of customers that are asking about what does that scenario look like. So I agree that as we think about what does a two-tier approach look like for ERP, there's a story there around areas in private equity kind of place, but I think there's also a big play. I think I might be losing battery, but there's a big play there for the CRM approach. Okay, so I said the entire list here, the 5 talked about was not complete, right? There are other things. It'll be interesting to see how LinkedIn comes into the story, especially with CRM kind of components. It'll be interesting to see, go stop by and look at the presentations they have over on Azure Sphere and how that impacts the IoT hub. Go spend some time, you can come to our booth. We've got a pretty good blockachino or cappuccino. It's a coffee kind of blockchain scenario. It's interesting to think about how that might impact the whole approach of M365 and how does all of the three. Let's even back that up a little bit. How does the 3 clouds of Microsoft play into discussion when we have SAP and Azure? And how do we better leverage Teams or better leverage SharePoint or link into our unified communications that are all part of this? How does it plug into HoloLens? We've got another demo in our booth over there dealing with connected minds, and think about what the impact of that is to our SAP environment for service or field services or oil services or whatnot. The one comment that I'll make about all of this, is security. Again, I mentioned it early on that I wanted to mention security all the time. Security is extremely impactful to all of this. And it's also why Microsoft, Accenture, Avanade, all of us are creating these security practices to try to take an approach of how do we ensure that we can provide these services in a reliable manner. Yeah.
You might want to add GitHub and Azure DevOps to this.
So exactly right. So you mentioned GitHub and DevOps, and those are huge pieces. I 100% agree. In fact, if we get back to the data and analytics, just to kind of sneak back to that one, if you guys go look at GitHub, so I mentioned that we eat our own dog food as companies. After Microsoft did their migration, magically appeared inside of GitHub a whole list of ABAP SDK that links or gives you the libraries to be able to connects into services like blob storage or key vaults. There's a whole list of them. Stop by over and see me at the booth, and I've actually got a list of them all. But that actually gives your ABAP programmers the ability to leverage Azure components from your own development. Not that you can't do it today, but it's actually giving you the libraries to be able to do that. Okay? So, I mentioned it a little bit in the beginning, and you saw it in the video. What we have is an approach that we call the power of 3. Sounds like an old Wonder Twins, like we're all going to be superheroes. But what we do from our approach, and you heard Judson say that we've got very tight relationships. And this power of 3, what we do is we approach it by building on top of one another. So Microsoft is obviously providing the platform and that infrastructure layer. Avanade, who, by the way, if you don't know, Avanade was originally formed as a joint venture between Accenture and Microsoft. That's why you always see us together. Operationally, we're under Accenture now, but we still are partially owned by Microsoft. So that's why you typically see those two, Avanade and Accenture, always linked together. But what we do is we've got Microsoft as the base and the infrastructure piece, Avanade as the Microsoft-specific services arm of Accenture, and then Accenture coming in with the industry knowledge that we build on top of each other to make sure we're providing a risk-mitigated partner of choice. That's a mouthful, but that's our approach. That's our tagline that we use, is to become that risk-mitigated partner of choice. Okay, so guys, I covered quite a few topics here, and obviously we can go way deeper on all of these, but this was a 20-minute little splash on what our customers are asking for. And by the way, all these cases, our customers are asking for all of these. We've gone down this path numerous times with these customers, and expectations are that the pipeline is building. And if it was a Chinese New Year, this would be the year of the Hana. Okay, going back to why now, I guess that question that comes up, thinking about 2025, which is when SAP will no longer support the other databases, or any database is what they call it. So after 2025, you are only able to run S/4HANA Enterprise Management. They will no longer support Oracle, DB2, SQL Server, any of those environments. They will only support the HANA environment. So they've created this event that now we have that as our target. So the expectations are, and we're seeing it in the market, that really the next 3 years are going to be huge as people continue to either start or plan out their roadmaps on how they're going to get to HANA, or, and remember guys, not making a decision is making a decision. Okay, if you guys have any questions, I'll be around here for a few minutes, and otherwise you guys feel free to stop by the booth over in the corner, and I'll be happy to catch up with you. Thank you very much.